been testing mountain bikes for over 21 years. And today, I'm hiding in a pothole in the Yorkshire Dales out the wind, giving you the technical talk round on a bike I've just done a live ride review on. And that bike is the Canyon Neuron CF 9SL. CF because it's a carbon fibre version of the Neuron, and it's fully carbon fibre. I mean, obviously some affordable carbon bikes just have a carbon fibre front end and then an alloy back end. This is full carbon fibre front, full carbon fibre rear, and even the linkage there is actually fibre reinforced plastic. You're also on this 9SL version, you're getting these Reynolds 309 carbon rims, so really nice 30mm wide, asymmetrically spoked wheel set. It's got the basic hub set in it and the basic spoke set. There is a top end Reynolds carbon wheel set, but these give you all the advantages of those lifetime warranty carbon rims at a relatively affordable price. Retails around 1300 quid, I think, off the top of my head. But I've tested them independently. Really good, light, stiff, durable rim. Really nice wheel set for a fast, efficient 29er, which is the whole basis of this Neuron. 130mm travel front with this Fox Performance 34 Elite fork, Fit 4 damper. So you've got three basic, you've got full low speed and high speed compression tuning on it. Simple air spring in there, really easy to set up, really plush. Really good fork this year. I mean, hasn't been my favourite fork in previous years, but they've really hit a sweet spot with it this year. At the back, again, this Fox float, it's the Evol Performance version again. Extra volume, so you've got a bigger chamber on the top of the shock to really keep that back end super smooth and super connected. I mean, it's a 4-bar linkage, but it's got this little kicker on the back, so it lifts that rear pivot relatively high. But it's still, it's still a chainstay pivot rather than the seat stay pivot, so it's a fully active 4-bar linkage. And you've got these little kicker links up here, and then the shock driver linkage here. And also one thing that's really neat is that if you're looking behind, the actual pivot on this linkage is at the back, and then you've got another pivot there. But on this outside, not only have you got a cover over the bearings on the outside there, but you've also got this just purely cosmetic cover on the outside, just to give it a really clean line through. The actual structural member is there. So this bit here is purely a sheath over the bearings, so it keeps the bearings protected, just makes it look nice. It's just a really nice detail, to be fair. And again, you've got this very sort of Canyon family look, this blacked out top section to give it a really long and low and purposeful sort of demeanour, and that really suits the bike. While we're talking about practical touches, if you look down at the main pivot here, it's fairly asymmetrically offset, and even though it's a big old chunky bottom end on this chainstay, there's a little bit of flex you can feel coming through that, and I'm guessing that's through that pivot there. And also because it's quite a mobile suspension setup, it doesn't feel like the stiffest bike under power, but with what Canyon call the 3-phase suspension, it's very sensitive off the top with quite a lot of anti-squat, and it hits stability through the just around the sag point, so it's got a good stable pedaling position. And then right towards the end of the stroke, although it does run pretty easily through its shock stroke in the standard setup, right towards the end it goes progressive, so you have to hit it pretty damn hard to bottom out that 130mm. But overall suspension character, very mobile, very plush, very smooth ground following suspension feel. Back to the frame detail, like I say, you've got these protected bearings, at least on the outside edge. You can see, there's a bit of dirt going to creep into that back edge there. But overall, well protected. You've got a clevis joint, so it's double-sided on the back there. You've got short direct mount. That's all replaceable there if you have a problem with the rear mech. And the cabling, although it's not internal, it's all run underneath this sheath that runs the full length of the down tube, so it nips in there, so really easy to service, but to all intents and purposes it looks like internal cable routing, but you've got that easier access for getting in there for any servicing or cleaning of the cables. Up top you've got this little block here with the catch on the steerer collar, so that stops the fork coming all the way around and fork crown clattering the frame. So that's a nice little safety feature there. Typically for Canyon, the spec is absolutely fantastic for the money. Like I said, you've got these Reynolds carbon wheels. They're a real highlight on the bike. You know, suit it down to the ground. Well, in terms of covering ground very quickly. Light, tight, and you know, but tough enough. Lifetime warranty, 30mm wide rim, which gives a nice round profile on these Maxxis Forecaster tyres. You've got Max Terror on the front, which is the relatively grippy triple compound, and then on the rear, it's another triple compound tyre. So these are top spec Maxxis tyres, and it's got the max speed, so a harder, faster rolling compound on the back where you want more speed. Again, detailing on the frame, you've got a little chatter stop-in chainstay protector there. And underneath, you've got one that wraps all the way under there, and it also acts as the cable guide for the rear Met cable. So again, loads and loads of detail. Don't think just because you're getting a great deal on the spec on a Canyon that they skimp at all on the detail. Canyon have always shone when it comes to attention to detail. In terms of drive chain, you've got SRAM Exo 1 Eagle, so you've got that full 10 to 50 cassette. It's a lighter cassette than NX. It's a better quality chain than NX. It's a wider spread of gears. You got the full 1050, not the 1150, which you get on NX. You get an XD driver, and up front you've got this Truvative Stylo alloy crank. But again, you've got the X-Sync 2 chainring profile there, so more efficient, load-bearing chain teeth on there. And it's the latest dub standard, so the oversized standard. I'll flip it around in a minute to show you, but it's running an external bottom bracket. Big highlight in terms of smoothness and reliability is box transfer dropper post. You got 70 to 60mm wide bar, 60mm long stem, so a balanced cockpit. You know, it's a balanced all-round bike. It suits the cockpit. It's got ergon grips, personal favourite of a lot of people who put a lot of mileage into their bikes. Guide R brakes, that's the simplest of the guide brakes, so there's no clever little swing cam in there to give it the real touchy-feely sensation of the top guide brakes, but still a decent 4-pot reliable stopper. Just flipped it around here so you can see external bottom bracket cups, so a lot more longer lived than a press fit setup. Again, external cover on the main bearings there, and also, although it's single bearing on this side, it's a double bearing on the drive side to handle that increased torque load. At the back, you've got these really neat lever for the 148mm boost rear axle. Just slide that out, clicks into place, so you don't need to worry about tools or you're catching it on any undergrowth or anything like that. Just another really, really neat little design solution there. In terms of geometry, it's just, you know, it's not the longest, slackest, lowest bike out there, but then it's designed to be a really balanced all-round bike, and I think Canyon have actually got the numbers bang on. I've seen quite a lot of criticism from people who seem to think every bike has to feel like an enduro bike, but this Neuron is bang on with all the classics in its kind of family grouping. Specialized stump jumper, short travel, the Scott Spark, the Tall Boy, they're all around this benchmark. In terms of actual detail, 67.5 degree head angle, 74.5 seat angle, so that's relatively steep for this category. Gives it a little bit more bite when you're right on the rivet of the saddle climbing. It's a fantastic technical climbing bike, this. I absolutely loved, because the shock is so supple and mobile, there's so much connectivity to the ground. It just loves clawing its way up rocky, rooty, pretty much what look like uncleanable climbs. This thing just thrives on. In terms of reach, it's 453mm on this large, and overall wheelbase is just a shade under 1200mm. Only thing that is a slight outlier is the chainstay length, which 440mm is quite long for a 130mm travel 29er, and maybe, I mean, again, great, you know, gives great traction under power, but it's another reason why it maybe feels a little bit more vague when you're really slamming the watts down compared to the punchiest bikes. But it's such an agile, lively bike overall, and together with the low weight, that just becomes more and more apparent the further and faster you ride this bike. And, you know, for under £3,500 with these carbon wheels and the full carbon frame, it really is a fantastic bargain if your idea of mountain biking is getting out there and just covering many miles over, you know, it'll tackle seriously techie terrain if you want it to, but it just loves getting out there, getting into the big scenery, getting into the big views, and getting you home again with a big grin on your face. And for the money, really has to be one of the best bikes out there for that. Although obviously you have to point out that they get that awesome value for money by just delivering the bike to you in a box, not selling it through your local dealer with all the friendly support that they can hopefully provide. Plus, you might have to wait until they've got the bikes into stock rather than just going into a dealer going, that's the bike I want, and walking straight out the door with it. But, you know, Canyon do have a UK distribution centre and full backup. Beautifully equipped, top value, cross-country trail all-rounder, really neutral handling, super smooth, super comfortable, really efficient. That sounds like exactly the kind of thing for going on a big ride with the Dales, which is what I've done in the live ride review. So that's up here, watch that, and then check out the subscription here or Patreon here for a load more exclusive content, pre-reviews and in-depth stuff, and even the world's worst unboxing video on this very bike. Who wouldn't want to watch that for $3 a month? Right, thanks for your time. I'm out of here. Cheers.